but it's so funny, and it's so much fun that you can't tell me what I can't do. You know, I can be anything I want to be. I can do anything I want to do and do it well. That's the good part about this fight coming up, is that this is my personal project.
After exhausting the competition in 3 lighter weight divisions, world welterweight champion Pernell Whitaker, still touted as the best fighter pound for pound in the world, moves up in weight for the 3rd time in his career, this time to take on junior middleweight champion Julio Cesar Vasquez.
This is not about championships anymore, especially for Pernell Whitaker. You know, we work for Pernell Whitaker, and he says to, you know, he tells us, look, I don't forget the belt. They can keep the belt. I don't even want the title. I just want to be able to fight the best fighters in the world who people consider the best fighters.
The Whitaker line, I just want to be challenged. But the fact he hasn't tested the waters at 154 pounds prior to his run at the title worries a lot of people. In addition, he challenges for this belt without longtime trainer George Benton in his corner. The Whitaker partnership, hailed for its stability after 10 long years together, is finally splitting up.
This was something that had to happen, and it was forced on me. You know, I respect Luduva, but he had no respect for me. All of a sudden, he feels that I don't deserve what you know, he should give me. I just decided, well, it's time for me to get the hell out of there. I just couldn't keep on letting him kick me in the butt.
While both sides remain silent on the inner details of the split, one thing is certain. Benton's share of the purse was cut down, which resulted in his abrupt departure.
As far as him being with Pernell Whitaker, he's always going to be in my life. You know, because I can always say that George Benton taught Pernell Whitaker to be the best fighter pound for pound.
The question now, whether Whitaker can continue to win without Benton's intelligent help.
George Benton will not make a difference in the loss to the team effort. We've always strived, I've always strived for teamwork, team effort on behalf of my fighters.
But every team needs leaders, and with Benton gone, the torch passes into the hands of Ronnie Shields, an assistant to Benton for 6.5 years. Does Shields have enough experience to challenge a seasoned fighter like Pernell?
I don't have to teach him how to fight. He knows how to fight, you know. And the thing about it is that, you know, I look what he does best, and that's what I work on. You got to remember, he's been successful for the last, 6-7 years. And why tamper with success?
Changing trainers is nothing new in boxing. The results are mixed. When Mike Tyson made the change from Kevin Rooney to Aaron Snow, his performance suffered, culminating in his defeat. For Roy Jones Jr., trained in the past by his father, a switch seems to have paid off. Under Alton Merkerson, he continues to win, and even competes with Whitaker as the best pound-for-pound fighter.
This is my first time going to the ring knowing that Ronnie has control. You know, this is Ronnie's first big fight under the lights. And that means a whole lot. You know, and I've been around long enough to know, and he's been around long enough to know that, hey, we can do this together.
As a lightweight, Pernell scored some early knockouts, but additional weight has not meant additional power. The fights are longer now. With only one early career defeat on his record, Whitaker may have forgotten what it's like to lose. His biggest challenge will come when he really needs help and must look to his new corner to find it.
Back live at ringside, if Whitaker needs help tonight, it might be because of the disparity he faces in size going into the ring against Vasquez yesterday. At 5 o'clock Eastern Time, they weighed in at 153 3/4 pounds, but as they enter the ring tonight, we estimate, based on information from both corners, that Vasquez will weigh at least 161 pounds, Whitaker about 155. Larry?
At the weigh-in, Whitaker weighed almost 6 pounds more than he's ever weighed for a fight before. You have to wonder, will it affect his quickness or his stamina?
Punch stat numbers, Larry.
This is a profile of how busy these fighters are. You can see they throw roughly the same number of punches normally. Whitaker much more accurate. Vasquez throws a lot of hard jabs, but from what we've seen, he hasn't landed a whole lot of them as yet.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Julio Cesar Vasquez Pernell Whitaker fight will be 12 rounds. There is no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the last round. Jim.
All right, thanks, Harold. Now, as of 24 hours ago, Julio Cesar Vasquez's manager, Michel Acaris, was quite upset about the purse that Vasquez is receiving here tonight. Upset because he felt he wasn't fully informed of American tax liabilities prior to receiving the check. So there was some speculation that Vasquez might leave the country or might not exit the dressing room tonight. Pernell Whitaker will come into the ring first. He's the challenger tonight as they fight for Vasquez's junior middleweight championship. And once again, we can't emphasize it enough, a chance to become only the 4th fighter in the history of the sport, joining Hearns, Leonard, and Duran in winning 4 titles in 4 different weight classes.
But more importantly, only Duran before has won a lightweight title and a junior middleweight title. That's a 19-pound leap.
We mentioned in the feature that as Pernell has moved up in weight, the fights have gotten longer. Indeed, of his 15 world championship fights, 13 of them have gone the 12-round distance. A singles hitter who doesn't have to score knockouts to show how good he is. Pernell Whitaker enters the ring with a record of 34 wins. The 1 loss, hotly disputed, to Jose Luis Ramirez early in his career, later avenged in a fight in which Whitaker won every round on some scorecards. The draw with Chavez in San Antonio, September 10, 1993, regarded by almost all ringside observers there as a clear victory for Whitaker. And now here is Vasquez from Santa Fe, Argentina. And you see that he's got a record on his mind, too, as he tries to tie Gianfranco Rossi's record of 11 successful junior middleweight title defenses.
Vasquez is one of those South Americans, Gil, who has a face and a jaw that seems as big as Alaska. Does that help a fighter take a punch?
I really think it does, Larry. I managed a lot of Argentinian fighters, and for example, Rocky Rivera was one of my fighters. Could have hit him with a baseball bat, and it wouldn't have bothered him. And Vasquez has that same kind of jaw.
Hey, Gil, what about that Emil Griffith slip-up the first time he went up to the middleweight division? Larry pointed it out a little while ago.
Well, Jim, if you see Larry around tonight, you tell him that the first time Griffith fought for the middleweight championship, he was the welterweight champion of the world. There were only 8 divisions in those days, and he beat the great Dick Tiger to win the middleweight championship. And I didn't blow him up the way they blew up Whitaker tonight. I let him come into this natural weight. I think that's more important.
So tell Larry to take his analogy elsewhere for the time being, and we take a look at the record of Julio Cesar Vasquez. 52 wins. The only loss was a disqualification against American Berno Phillips when Vasquez's trainer charged into the middle of the ring to dispute the referee's ruling that Phillips had not hit Vasquez after the bell. So they're both in the ring. Let's go up to Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Caesars Atlantic City, where tonight, Main Events Monitor and AB Stars Productions of Paris, France, in association with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, this Bud's for you, present World Championship Boxing. Sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr., Chairman Jerry Gormley, Board members Gary Shaw and Al Daniels, Deputy Commissioner Lawrence Wallace, Chief Physician at ringside Dr. Frank B. Doggett, attending physicians Dr. Dominic Coletta Jr. and Dr. Earl Shaw. Counting for the knockdown seconds, alternate referee Eddie Cotton, and the timekeeper is Roosevelt Gilbert. This bout is also sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza. WBA supervisor in attendance at ringside, Leonard Reed. The 3 judges scoring this contest on a 10-point must system will be Guy Jutras, Pinit Prayatsab, and John Riley. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Tony Orlando. And now, ladies and gentlemen, by way of Caesars Atlantic City, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner wearing the red with gold trim, weighing 153 3/4 pounds. This 1984 Olympic gold medalist has captured 5 world championship belts in 3 divisions. As a professional, his record, 34 victories, 15 by KO against only 1 defeat with 1 draw. Tonight, he tries for a world title in the 4th division. Ladies and gentlemen, from Norfolk, Virginia, the challenger and welterweight champion of the world, Pernell Whitaker. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white with light blue trim, also weighing in at 150.